Hey y'all, welcome to Pleiadian Point of View. I'm Peyton with Peyton Energetics, and as you can probably guess, I'm a Pleiadian channel. So in today's Point of View, the Pleiadians wanted to talk to us about stepping up our tools as lightworkers and starseeds, because it's something that is happening to a lot of people in the spiritual community, especially people who have been doing their work for a long time. People who are really on their game, do their spiritual practice every day, is that they notice that they are still struggling with certain things. And this may take the form of that issue in your life that you can't resolve no matter what, or something that keeps recurring no matter how much healing you do, how much shadow work you do. The Pleiadians have noticed that a lot of lightworkers and starseeds are hitting certain walls in their practice. So they wanted to talk today about what is going on. So according to the guides, one of the reasons this is happening, that we are finding that no matter how much healing work we have done, how much shadow work we've done, there are still some things that we haven't been able to shake off of us, haven't been able to clear yet. And the guides wanted us to understand that one of the reasons that is contributing to that is that we are being called to work on bigger and bigger energies. So most of us, as we go through our spiritual path, we start to work on our personal stuff, right? All those great traumas that we have accumulated over this human lifetime and any of our other lifetimes. And we're doing the work from a personal perspective. So most of the tools and modalities that we've all been taught by our spiritual teachers work on these issues, individual level problems. So those traumas that we have had during the course of our life, those issues and themes that we have struggled with, things that are based on us individually. And after a number of years, a lot of us have worked through and integrated a lot of our personal stuff. So a lot of those personal issues, personal themes, but we may be noticing that no matter how much we use our energy tools, do our modalities, do our practices very religiously, that there are some things that just aren't budging. And according to the guides, one of the reasons for this is that lightworkers are being called to step up. So according to the Pleiadians, one of the reasons this is happening is that we are starting to run into planetary templates, energies that are not personal to us, but that lay over the entire Earth experience. So a lot of times, these are those huge things that we look out in the world and we see it as an issue, even if it's not something that has particularly affected our lives. But we know that it is something that is still coming up for us, even if we can't trace it to our own personal experience. So one example of this is abandonment. So many people struggle with this energy of abandonment, even though they can't really think of a whole lot of examples of how they were abandoned in their life. So it kind of doesn't really make sense to them why they would have this very strong theme or issue if it was never a huge factor in their life. Well, one of the reasons for that is we're starting to reach the level in our healing of hitting planetary energies. So these are energies that affect the entire human collective. And they kind of lay over the collective like a dirty mat that everything has to run through them. And these are massive energies. So one of the reasons why the guides say a lot of us hit issues that we haven't been able to shake no matter what is because we are hitting planetary energies. And again, these are massive grid energies that go way beyond our little individual little me self. So when we hit these energies, one of the ways that we can identify them is they don't respond to our normal tools. So we may be doing all those great tools that our teachers have taught us, doing our shadow work, doing all that good stuff, and we notice nothing happens. This is a sign that we are hitting or bumping into a planetary template. So how do you know if you are hitting these issues, if this is the reason why you haven't been able to shift something? First off, as I mentioned, you will notice that it won't respond to your tools. That is the first sign that you are bumping into an energy that is bigger than yourself. It is an energy that affects the whole of humanity. And for that reason, it doesn't respond to our traditional tools, because most of the tools that we have been taught through our spiritual practice are only designed to work on individual level energies. So that's one reason why we could still be hitting something over and over again, and it's not responding to our tools, to our spiritual practices. That's because it's too big. So planetary energies require different tools. They require bigger tools. So that is something that's really important to know if you are someone who is finding that you're bumping into things that you can't shift no matter what. So how do you recognize these energies? How do you tell if this is something that is an individual issue, just part of your stuff, or if you're someone who is hitting these planetary template energies, if that is what is manifesting for you to process now? One of the ways you can identify planetary template energies is as you start to try to heal this energy. And of course, it is going to show up as an issue in our life. So this will look the same way as many of our individual level issues look. It will just show up as something going wrong in our life, a problem in our life, something that is feeling particularly bad. And so one of the ways that we can tell if this is an individual level issue or a planetary energy is by how the energy feels. Now, when I have hit planetary template energies in my own practice, the way this works for me or shows up is it will feel like I am hitting an absolute wall. Like I am bumping into an issue that is too big for me to handle. And so this feels very different than when I'm dealing with something based on my personal experience. So if I am processing, integrating energy that is individual based on my own stuff, the energy may feel very strong. It may be very painful to confront it, but it feels manageable. But you may notice if you are hitting planetary energies, meaning this is something that your soul agreed to help process for the collective, that it feels overwhelming when you hit it. When you start to work on this issue through any of your tools, it will feel almost impossible. And so the example that always comes up to me when I hit a planetary template energy in my own practice is I feel like a balloon bouncing against the ceiling, like nothing I do is going to budge it. And so that's one of those signs that this issue that is coming up in your life for you to deal with is actually a planetary energy, something that you have agreed at the soul level to process for the entire collective. So you may notice that it has a very overwhelming feel to it, like it's way too big for little you to process. That is a great sign that you are bumping into a planetary template. Now, another way to identify planetary templates, and again, the reason that we want to identify them is because they require different tools to process them. We have to have a tool big enough to process energy that affects the entire planet. So, totally different set of tools are required when we are dealing with planetary templates. And then the other way that planetary templates may show up or manifest is that as you work on these issues in your practice, you may notice a very strong pressure in your high heart chakra. So sometimes we call this our thymus gland, which is located above your heart, kind of in the center of your breastbone. So if you notice as you start to work on an issue, do your healing, do your integration work, that you feel a lot of pressure or heaviness in your high heart chakra or your thymus chakra, that can be a sign that you're dealing with a planetary template energy. So again, we tend to feel these energies in different parts of our body, and we want to identify them because they are not going to respond to our normal energy tools. So this is something that more and more lightworkers and starseeds are bumping into in their practice, is that they have done most of their individual level healing. We have moved through. We have done so much shadow work. We have done shadow work for days. We have done our healing, our integrating, our processing. And so according to the Pleiadians, a lot of us on the spiritual path have completed a lot of our healing work. Now, of course, we are never done, unfortunately, but we have moved through a significant amount of this. So I tend to see planetary template issues coming up in especially two categories of my clients and students. And the first is starseeds. So starseeds, of course, being people that have a lot of galactic energy, are very often here having agreed at the soul level to process these energies for the collective. So I see that these planetary energies are coming up for a lot of starseeds because it is something that they have agreed to tackle in this lifetime to help humanity out by processing some energies that are just too big for the average person to process. These are massive energies. So that is one category of client and student that I am seeing this come up in. And the other category is people who have been on their spiritual path for a while and who have really been on it, who have been diligent about their practice, done as much healing as they could find to do, done all of their shadow work for years. And again, the reason for this is they've completed most of their individual level healing. So they're starting to take on issues for the collective, to process things for the collective. So if you fall in this category, you may notice in the course of your spiritual practice that you are starting to bump into these planetary energies. It's just good to be able to recognize them, and you recognize them based on how they feel, which is massive, how they sit in your body. They may affect you in different chakras than your individual issues do. And you may notice that they don't respond to your typical healing tools. Those are all great signs that you are being called to step up your game and process these energies for the entire collective. Now, some examples of these templates are some of those things that we think of as being just massive energies and massive world problems. Things like war is a planetary template. Lack and separation are planetary templates. One of the ones that has been a problem for me lately is the energy of doubt. Doubting our abilities as creators is a very, very difficult planetary energy that is coming up for a lot of starseeds right now. So these are some examples just to give you a sense of how big these energies are. These are things that we think of as being worldwide issues. And that is because they are planetary energies. So when we clean these, we are not just purifying and processing this energy for ourselves and our personal growth. We are doing it for all of humanity. And as we do this, we actually start to deactivate these programs from the collective grid. So that is what the guides wanted to share with us today, to let you know if you resonate with any of this, that this may be part of your soul mission to help the planet clear some of these very dense, very polarizing, separating energies that have just laid like a dirty blanket over the planet for thousands of years. So that is what the Pleiadians wanted to share with us in this point of view. I hope it helps you. I'll see you soon. Bye.